Amidst a blazing sky, the helicopter violently shook before exploding into a fireball over the Aboka Mountains. Metal shards scattered everywhere, black smoke coiling like a serpent. Everyone believed Makand was dead. But deep in a rocky crevice, a bloodied figure suddenly stirred. Beneath dust and debris, his eyes opened, fiery and determined. A broken arm clutched the golden two-headed lion ring tightly. No one expected it. The legendary billionaire had survived. And from that moment, he began to vanish from the world. Like and subscribe to follow Babu's journey of exile and self-discovery. The town of Unveils, during its scorching sunny days, was always filled with the scent of dust and a chaotic soundtrack. Beneath the old bridge leading into Suja Market, where goods were traded not with money but with trust, sat a familiar shadow, an old homeless man with a beard as white as salt rock, motionless beside a pile of tattered books and a long wooden staff. People called him Babu. No one knew where he came from. No one remembered the last time he spoke about himself. He simply existed, like a rotting baobab stump, like a wrecked boat buried in sugarcane dust, as a fixed part of the town's backdrop. The strangest thing, he never begged for money. Instead, Babu traded books for food. A torn novel in exchange for a cornbread loaf. An old scripture swapped for 3 ripe mangoes. Street kids often clung to him, listening to ancient folktales told in a long-forgotten native tongue, one that only a few elders still remembered. He used to be a monk, guessed Sabina, the bean seller. No, he was a professor who went mad from the war, declared the tuk-tuk driver. Maybe a foreign spy, whispered the kids. All of them were wrong, but no one guessed the truth. One noon, as the sun screamed down on the market rooftops, a group of young men in white uniforms, belonging to Mr. Okand, the powerful mayoral candidate, approached Babu. They carried paint, buckets of water, and a loudspeaker. "Clear this place out, old man," one of them barked, pointing at the books and cloth bag. "This town needs to look clean. We're building a new image," another shouted. Babu said nothing, quietly gathering his books. But in his clouded, weary eyes flickered something. Not fear. Contempt. For a moment, the whole market paused. Then, as if nothing had happened, it returned to its rhythm. Charcoal sellers calling out, knives chopping meat, tuk-tuk horns blaring. But in the hearts of Suja's people, something quietly shifted. From a distance, a street boy watched Babu. In his hand, he held a piece of bread, broken in 2. He walked over and placed half in front of the old man. "I don't want anything," the boy said. "I just want to sit near you." Babu looked up and smiled gently. The boy's name was Juma, and that small gesture would change the fate of the entire town. The scorching sun of Unveils didn't care if you were rich or poor, but hunger did. And Juma, a 12-year-old boy, thinner than a bamboo drying rack, knew that better than anyone. Each morning, he tied up his worn-out sandals, tucked a small razor blade into his waistband, and blended into the crowd of the market. On good days, he might pickpocket a wallet or find a dropped earring, enough for a bowl of thin porridge. On bad days, only the growling of his stomach would sing him to sleep. But something strange began to happen. Ever since he met Babu, Juma stole less. He started to listen. "There are 3 kinds of people with true power in a village," Babu once said, as Juma nibbled on a banana peel beside him. "Those who keep fire, those who keep water, and those who keep secrets." Juma would steal glances at the old man's cloth bag, the one he always clutched to his side, even in sleep. What was inside? One day, while Babu dozed under the tree's shade, Juma crept closer. His hand brushed against the rough fabric, then something hard and round. He pulled gently. A ring. Not just any ring. Real gold, etched with the design of a 2-headed lion, the symbol of the ancient Aboka dynasty, a kingdom that once ruled before it was torn apart. Juma nearly dropped it. The 2-headed lion, that same symbol had once appeared on the old EMKA Corporation coins. Rumors said Makand Njeri, EMKA's founder, died 12 years ago in a helicopter explosion. Juma swallowed hard, shoved the ring back into the bag, and bolted. That night, in his tin and tarp shack, Juma met with someone. Ao, a journalist. Ao wasn't like the charity folks from the city who came, posed for pictures, and left. He wore worn shirts, spoke with a real Mbale accent, and had once been a street kid himself. He often traded old bread with Juma in exchange for news. "Brother Ao," Juma whispered, "I found something in Babu's bag." He used his hands to describe the ring, the symbol, the ancient markings. Ao fell silent. He pulled out his old phone and scrolled to a blurry photo. Njeri, MKA's founder, standing beside the president of Kenya 15 years ago, and on his finger was that exact ring. Ao said nothing, but in his mind, the pieces began to click into place. A mysterious old man, fluent in forgotten tongues. A royal symbol thought long lost. And a street kid who had just unearthed a buried political legend. That night, Juma couldn't sleep. And under the bridge, Babu opened his eyes, staring into the dark, his hand clenched tightly around the bag, like a man preparing to dig up a past buried in blood. The night in Bale was quiet, but inside journalist Ao's mind, facts thundered like war drums. He sat in his cramped rented room, surrounded by stacks of old documents. In front of him was a blurry photo of Njeri, the founder of EMKA, taken with the president of Kenya over a decade ago. On his right hand, the two-headed lion ring gleamed. That detail matched Juma's description exactly. Could he really still be alive? Ao whispered, flipping through the 12-year-old investigation files. A helicopter explosion. No confirmed body. Rumors of chaos inside EMKA. And one name that surfaced briefly back then, Okand Mwevu, special assistant, who rose to lead EMKA just 1 month after Makan's supposed death. Ao grabbed his phone and called a contact in Nairobi. "I need all files related to the 2013 crash. And check for any asset transfers registered under Okand's name from that year onward." The next morning, Okand was having breakfast in his hilltop mansion when his assistant, a young man named Kalu, entered, looking tense. "Sir, there are rumors spreading in the market. About Babu. Someone claims he's Njeri." The silver spoon in Okand's hand paused above his cornmeal porridge. "What did you say?" he asked slowly, as if pulling each word from his throat. "A street kid named Juma told some journalists. Someone saw Babu wearing the Aboka royal ring." Okand stood up and stepped out onto the balcony. He looked down over Mbale town, Suja market bustling below like a swarm of bees. He clenched his fist, his voice low and cold. "I saw that helicopter explode. There's no way he survived. Maybe it's just coincidence," Kalu murmured. "If it's him," Okand turned, his eyes sharp as blades, "I won't let him appear in public. Not again." That afternoon, Juma ran across the dusty road to meet Babu. In his hand was a small printed image of the ring, given to him by Ao from the investigation files. "Babu," Juma whispered, "your ring. It looks just like this. Who does it belong to?" Babu looked at him with quiet eyes. He sat down, pulled the real ring from his bag, and placed it in Juma's palm. "Do you know what this symbol means?" Juma shook his head. "It's two lions, one that lives in the dark, one in the light. But only one person is allowed to wear it." "Who?" Juma asked, eyes wide. "Someone who once had everything, and lost it all. Even his name." Babu gave a faint, sorrowful smile. "If he ever returns, the first thing he'll need isn't a throne, but the truth." That night, Ao received the investigation results from Nairobi. Okand was appointed CEO of EMKA exactly 23 days after the explosion. Major EMKA assets were transferred into his name via a proxy letter without an original signature. Most importantly, no living proof of Makan's death was ever confirmed. "He either killed him or thought he did," Ao said to himself. But he's still alive, right under Suja Bridge. Up on the hill, Okand gave Kalu a new order. Tomorrow night, cause a scene at the market. Accuse the old man of theft. Let the crowd deal with him. No one will suspect a thing. You're not afraid of the media? Kalu asked softly. Media belongs to those with money, Okand sneered. And I have plenty. On Friday morning, Suja Market was more crowded than usual. Rumors spread like dry grass on fire. Babu is a spy. The beggar is hiding gold. Someone saw him casting spells on children. No one knew where the rumors came from, but everyone repeated them like an old, broken song. Beneath the bridge, Babu sat as always, but there was something different in his expression. It was as if he was counting down. Around noon, a scream pierced through the market. Thief! That old beggar stole my purse. A woman shouted and threw a fabric purse to the ground. The crowd turned to see Babu standing a few meters away, saying nothing, his face unreadable. I saw it, a man yelled. With my own eyes. He took it from that stall. He's not from here. He's always been suspicious. The shouting grew louder, the air thick like maggots swarming a fish bucket. Okand's men moved subtly, fueling the anger. Babu was dragged to the center of the market. Suja Square, the unofficial people's court. Search his bag, someone shouted. A young man yanked the cloth bag from Babu's hand. Out fell a notebook, a pen, 2 dried figs, and a golden ring. Silence fell over the market. See, the woman cried. Gold. He is a spy. An old man mumbled. That's the ring of the ancient king. A ripple of doubt passed through the crowd, but was quickly drowned by the blaring speaker. This man is a threat to Mbale, declared a voice from a pickup truck with Okand's campaign logo. He must be dealt with according to community law. Hidden in the crowd, Juma trembled. He bolted to find Ao, who was quietly observing from a nearby cafe. They've got him. They framed him. They're about to hurt him. Ao pulled out his phone, ready to live stream. But signal blocked. No connection. His phone shattered under the foot of a stranger. I saw you trying to record. Back off, the man growled. Ao grabbed Juma and pulled him back. He couldn't broadcast. Couldn't save Babu. All he could do now was remember everything. In the center of the market, Babu remained silent. His face weathered by sun, but his eyes, strangely bright. No fear. No plea for mercy. What do you want from me? He said, his voice deep, like it echoed from underground. False king. Spy. Lying beggar, someone shouted. Babu gave a faint smile. Has anyone ever asked, who's really doing the lying here? Shut up. A man raised a stick and charged, then froze halfway, caught by Babu's gaze. Just then, a loud siren wailed. A government jeep screeched into the market. Out stepped Okand, neatly dressed in a white safari jacket, with his temporary mayor badge pinned proudly. We must not act like savages, he declared. Let's handle this the civilized way. But the look he gave Babu was not one of mercy, it was a sentence. Detain him for questioning. Take him to the old warehouse. No visitors. No press, he ordered. 2 men escorted Babu away, under the eyes of a crowd torn between curiosity and doubt. If you are someone important, Okand whispered to him as they passed, I'll kill you again. That night, Juma snuck into the abandoned warehouse where Babu was being held. He found him sitting on the cold cement floor, dried blood on his forehead, eyes still sharp and alert. Are you okay? Juma asked. Did you bring anything? Babu replied. Juma pulled from his pocket a copy of Babu's handwritten notebook. Ao had managed to duplicate it before the authorities confiscated the original. Well done, Babu nodded. You really are Makand and Jerry, aren't you? Juma asked, eyes misting. Babu didn't answer right away. He looked out through a crack in the wall, where moonlight slipped in like a blade. If I am him, then this is far from over. Because my enemy still doesn't know I'm alive. The next morning, the town of Unveils teetered on the edge of belief. Rumors about Babu, the beggar spy, still echoed through alleyways, but this time, something had shifted. Some whispered, maybe he's innocent. I saw him heal a child once, never asked for anything. What is the government trying to hide? At that very moment, Ao and Juma took action. In a small internet cafe run by one of Ao's old friends, they uploaded scanned pages of Makan's journal, bearing his real signature, the Aboka seal, and transcripts of secret conversations with EMKA's board just before the accident. Ao went live with a short broadcast, streamed discreetly through an international news outlet that had once reported on Makan's 2013 disappearance. We have proof. Makan Jerry is alive. We have evidence. The helicopter explosion was an assassination. And the man behind it all is Okand Mwevu. The video spread quickly, but Okand didn't stay silent. That afternoon, he held an emergency press conference at Suja's town square. This is a smear campaign. That beggar is a delusional fraud, manipulated by foreign agents. We will prosecute anyone spreading false information. Social media is not the law. But in the crowd, something had changed. The suspicion in the elder's eyes had vanished. A woman who once received rice from EMKA's relief fund began to weep. Makan never abandoned us, she said softly. They forced him to disappear. That night, Juma snuck into the warehouse one last time. Babu sat calmly, like a man who had foreseen it all. They'll kill you if you go out there, Juma warned. No, Juma, he replied, rising to his feet. They won't dare, because this time, I'm not walking out alone. From under his shirt, he pulled out a metal badge, the EMKA Council insignia, and a short video recorded just before he left Nairobi 12 years ago. In it, Makan made a declaration. If I die, trust no one in my cabinet. And if I survive, I will return, myself. At dawn the next day, Suja Market Square. A crowd had gathered early. The air felt heavy, like a verdict was coming. Suddenly, a battered truck pulled in and stopped. Babu stepped out. No one blocked him. No one moved. The police glanced at each other, but took no action. The townspeople held their breath. He climbed onto the wooden stage, once used by Okand for speeches. My name, he said clearly, is Makan Jerry. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Some people cried out. Others wept openly. I was betrayed, left for dead. But I lived, because there was still one thing left to do, speak the truth. Ao started live streaming, this time uninterrupted. The network was back. Someone inside the system had turned against Okand. When I disappeared, Makan continued, EMKA was twisted into a tool of greed. People were sold like land. Honor was buried in mud. But everyone forgot. I once made a vow before the gods. No matter what form I take, I will return for justice. Applause erupted. Then cheering. Then tears. And then, police stepped forward. But not toward Makan. Arrest warrant for Okand Mwevu, the officer announced. Then came the golden ring. Keep it, Makan said, placing it in Juma's hand. Not to wear, but to remember that true power belongs in the heart, not on the hand. Juma hugged him, tears soaking into the old man's worn shirt. Later, Juma boarded a bus and left Unveils. In the rearview mirror, Makan's figure faded into the golden afternoon light, seated on a handmade wooden bench, reading a book. As if he had never been anyone important. And yet, had been the most important person the town had ever known.